and then I was starting to get heated. So I just said, just send me your shit. Let me listen to it. I don't have to, I'm not going to get in an argument about KRS-One. He did
Not
also.
being intricate? Okay.
You know, and so NWA, and, you know, he just was going down the list of why their music isn't that sound isn't as intricate as some of the stuff they're doing today. I don't know. I couldn't argue with him. But for him to disrespect like that, and when I talked about Nas, he said, "Oh yeah, Nas is good, but now he's a sellout." I said, "Let's not talk about Nas what he's done."
See,
you know what I'm saying? Exactly. That's what you know. What I meant. Sundiata, this kind of blasphemy also comes from Charles' son, who says that Stephen Curry is better than Kobe and Michael Jordan.
What?
Oh, what? We told him not only blasphemy, but we got to set him straight. But you know, these young ones, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
they suffer from lack of knowledge, as the saying goes, right?
Something to be said about progression. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to say that we don't want to see people come that will surpass those who were, you know, maybe our goats. But until it happens, no, you're not better than Kobe.
I
you're
agree.
Not better than Kobe. You know what I mean?
I agree. Right. I'm just telling you. You know, and we're playing for money, and I wanted to take all his money at that point, which I got a lot of, but not all of it. But somebody else got more of it. So he may be a hip hop head, but that was it. We were done.
No, I think he needs to. No. I think I'm going to question his hip hop credibility.
I agree. That's why I said I'm not getting into it with you, brother. Just send me the music. He also said, and I don't. You know, this would be an interesting thing to discuss. We've discussed it before. He just says, white hip hop artists, forget it. Nope, none of them. Eminem, no, none of them.
None can do it. Period.
I understood why he felt that way, and I'm white, so obviously.
Are you saying they're not good, or they just can't do it?
He says both. They're not that good, and he can't do it. He can't. You know, he thinks it's cultural appropriation, just straight up. I'm not saying he represents the new breed.
That's not true.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way either. I did tell him, why don't you come on our podcast with me and these two old head brothers? He said, no, I'll get ripped up there. I'm not.
He would get ripped up, man. If he's your boy, I don't know if he's going to be your boy after that.
That's what I said. He didn't want to come on. But maybe I'll get him to come on and we'll really get into it.
You know, to be honest, he wouldn't get ripped up by me because I'm just on some new stuff where I believe everybody you can like who you want to like. You can have your opinion. If it's not based in, you know, certain facts and all of that, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't change your mind, but you know, you can't come on. I'm not going to argue with you about whether Rakim and KRS and Chuck D are intricate or not. That's
right. That's all I was saying. Like,
so then we don't have a conversation if you're talking like that.
Right.
You can have your opinion, but you're not even. Yeah, we can't even talk.
Yeah, that's when I got heated.
Right.
You know, you can have new music, but please don't tell me Nas, Rakim, Method Man, he liked one song of Wu-Tang Clan. What?
Ooh, really? One? Okay.
Get him
It's just like, after a while, I did what you said. I said, okay, you know, just let me hear your music, because there's no getting. I wasn't going to change his mind, but his lack of respect for the old school was hateful. That's all I would say.
Yeah, it is.
But now, with that said, everyone, welcome to the Bill Comes Due podcast. I'm your host, Chuck with the most. We got our two esteemed colleagues here. It's been a while since we formed like Voltron once again. Good to see and feel everybody's energy. Sundiata the Tail Weaver once again. How are you, brother?
Peace.
Man.
Yeah,
place to be.
Good to see everybody.
Deuces.
Right. Now, in terms of good music, of course, you guys remember, I guess it was 2 podcasts from this one, maybe one podcast from this one. We had the chairman of the bars, of which Sundiata is an esteemed member. So let's refresh everyone's memory. Let's build a little bit. I don't want to put them on the spot, but I want to share, because we are talking about hip hop here. So,
chairman of the bars. I heard of that group. They're pretty.
So listen, play a couple tracks. I don't know why I love this song so much, man.
Black Lounging at the castle, doing my own thing, cooling with the queen. Cause I know I'm a king. On a Saturday, couldn't have been a fatter day, so we watched to exist and check Netflix. I ran across Luke Cage and Bushmaster beefing for boss. Then I switched my psych to the joint with Killer Mike. Inspired, cause we tired. Always being last hired, first fired. So the brother tried to go 3 days economically black. And what he found out about was all the things we lack. This ain't new to me, but was too true to see. We don't produce a lot in our community. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, others are making plans on how to get our guap in their hands. We got a peep game, get out the sleep game. It's a shame we willing to kill and maim. Peeps of one blood and look the same. Gotta change, rearrange. Shouldn't seem strange to spend your fiat notes plus change with your people on Black Fridays. If you wanna be a black colossus. I'm feeling good, y'all. Through my pain and losses. Come to find out, I'm the Black Colossus. Come on, you the Black Colossus. Come on, you the Black Colossus. Stepping over Pim's plate. Come to find out, I'm the Black Colossus. Come on, you the Black Colossus. Come on, you the Black Colossus. Economic hustle, black banks and schools, investment groups, and we.
So I don't want to make a big thing in terms of it being racial, but Sundiata, you know how it is with a black man when he's driving in the car. You know what I'm saying? He just like got the windows down. And there's only like a certain like type of music you gotta play. The sun is shining, you're feeling good.
Yeah.
And I'm rocking this music, bro. You know what I mean? In my whip.
Word.
That's real talk. You know what I mean? So it's just that's a credit to what you guys are building with. So man, I just gotta give you big up. So we just want to tell the folks in terms of where you guys are, like how folks can buy the music and just whatever you want to,
Indeed, man. Well, I appreciate the respect. Big up to Charles Marone, who threw down, that's his voice, that's his hook. You know what I mean? It has you on that Saturday vibe. And I know exactly what you mean, because a lot of songs that I listen to them, they got that kind of feel to it. It puts you in a place. But so we just wanted to create some things that, for people to think about. Some things that needed to be talked about, that many people in the conscious and outside of the conscious community are discussing. The album it's making a little noise, it ain't killing them at the box office, but that's how the underground works. Harriet was freeing people few at a time,
So Sundiata, where can we get this?
Okay, so if you want to buy it, and if you want to support the group as far as monetarily, they have it on Apple Music. If you just want to hear it, or if you want to stream it, you can get it from SoundCloud. You can go to Spotify. Also, that Audio Mac. Audio Mac is for those of you who can't afford it and just want to get some good music, because I'm always down with that too. I used to record off the radio, you know what I mean? So, but hopefully those of you who are on the conscious minded, trying to be Black Colossus will buy the record, you know what I mean? Go to Apple Music. I think that's the fastest way.
And guys, moving forward, all that information that Sundiata just said is going to be directly in the link for this podcast, you know what I mean? So when you click on the info, that you can get this information in terms of SoundCloud, Apple Music, all the info in terms of how to buy this record and, support the chairman of the bars will be there for you all. So much respect to what you guys are doing and building, man. Much respect.
Sundiata, is there a place if people want to donate to an up and coming sound that doesn't get support from the corporate community? Would there be a place where, they could make a donation to you all? Like a Venmo account or something, when people want to support the arts, that's what they do, I, for one, would do that, and I know some people would definitely do that. Us buying one record is one thing.
Brothers, give me 2 seconds. Some drama's happening in my community. I hate to give me 2 seconds.
Don't worry.
Do you? Whatever you gotta do. It's all good.
All right, so Charles.
Yes, sir.
Hold
on.
Atlanta in 7.
Hold on, Say it again, Sweet Lou.
Atlanta in 7, and it's Trae Young's big coming out party.
Well, as they say, money talks and BS walks, brother. So tell me how much Skrilla you willing to put on that?
Between you and me?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, how much. So if you're a betting man, would you be willing to put money on that?
I would if I were a betting man. But part of why I'm not a betting man is because we know that that's how you get hooked, right? Like you think you got a winner and you don't have a winner because things can happen. But I definitely think it's going to be Trae Young's coming out party on the national scene. If he gets to the second round,
I seriously
I
doubt
understand.
All day.
So the community isn't going to know what we're talking about exactly, but I don't know how we can link it. It can even tell people that Taekwondo kick that the dude did, that was stupid.
Yeah,
and that was with headgear on.
Yeah, that was it. Charlie saw that. He was like, "Oh my God!" I said, "Charlie, can you hit that?" He said, "No, not yet, not yet."
You don't want to be hit like that, Charlie.
Yeah. Lew was talking about this video. I think it was on ESPN. This Taekwondo competition, and one guy just totally blasted this other guy with some like outrageous kick.
Right? Yeah, because those striking kicks, they're terrifying. They're terrifying. Right.
So let's so tell me, so in terms of you got a lot going on, of course, like literally, like there's even being in your presence, man. You just got like all these meetings, and I know you're doing a lot with your tennis association. You want to talk a little bit about what you're doing and you're supporting the people?
Yeah, sure. I do want to also we can go back to it. Big ups to Kyrie Irving, right? Like I know
we're gonna talk about that. Hold that though. We're gonna talk about that.
All right,
good. Let's talk about Kyrie.
So, we see it all over the country. Evictions, tenants raised rent, which is already fucked up, and then they're not taking care of conditions. All are in the service of gentrifying. And we've seen it all over. It's not just in New York, it's Chicago, it's Boston, everywhere. Right. And so the fight that we're having in this, it's 1,000 unit development, if you will. And they're kind of nice little homes. They're not homes, but they're right next to each other. So, and they're building a railroad station right there. And what's next is they're evicting hundreds of people without fault. They don't even have fault. They're raising rents. It's like a great fight to talk about, like this ethnic cleansing. We get all the black and brown people out of there. We're either not going to take care of their homes, we're going to evict them, or we're going to raise the rent so they can't afford it. And we're all going to do this in the name of profit. That's nothing personal. And so
nothing personal, that's what they say. God.
Right. Well, it's business, right? Yeah, it's not personal to you, motherfucker, because you're not the one being kicked out of your home.
Exactly. Ridiculous.
There's a great line from Arlo Guthrie's father, Woody Guthrie, who was a left-wing organizer, folk singer. But he had a great line. He said, I never saw a thief or a robber drive a man from his home, but I've seen banks drive a man from his home. So that's what we see happening. So anyway, we just been doing some great organizing. And the thing that's powerful is not only that people are ride or die now, like it's like we've created a family there, but folks who've been scared, who are scared to talk. Because, you're going to lose your, you could get whatever. The Beacon properties, they got $1,000 an hour lawyers.
That's deployed to an employee fee. So in other words, if you talk out, then potentially you might lose your place.
Right.
That's what they do. Yeah.
And so some of these people that have been talking out, I hate to use a trite expression, but talking truth to power, their voices just keep getting larger and larger. So, they were righteous, but now and ironically, which I don't totally get, it's mostly women, which I don't get. I don't know why there aren't more men coming along, but people, we had a rally in the community, where we marched through the community with, banners and people just came out and started, they start speaking bitterness. It was just so powerful. So we're going back next week. We got a tenants committee we're hoping to create a movement that's not just around evictions and, you know, and rent and conditions, but this is a fight for our city, right? This is about gentrification, because that's their end game. They want to get everybody out. They'll fix up those homes nice, and they'll sell them for $500,000 or $600,000 each to mostly, you know, middle class professional types. So the whole thing was just very powerful, to march through people's neighborhood and people hanging out windows, and reminded me of the old days in some ways. And particularly, as I said, people who had never spoken out about anything. They were good citizens, right? They tried to pay their rent, do their thing. They were out there and they were angry. They were, you know, it was powerful.
And you know, and we've had this discussion numerous times. It's just, I don't understand why, you know, so many other folks like really don't put, you know, or put voice to power, or in other words, just like speak their truth in terms of like what's going on in their community and with their lives. I mean, if you just get a group of people together, not like hundreds of thousands, just like a group of people, no more than like 20 or 30, you know how much like, and I'm not sure how many people came out to your, you know, to the event, but it's just like, it's such a powerful, like, expression of power in so many different ways, you know, and it's just, and it scares people, and it scares the people in power. Like, once folks get together, that's why folks in power usually, you know, tries to make divisive, you know, things and exploits in terms of changing the narrative and getting folks to like live in fear of certain things with regards to their experience. But if folks ever got together and just realized their true power is in grouping and gathering amongst like-minded individuals, it's just, it's breathtaking in terms of what can be accomplished.
And I'm with you. There were about 100 people there, which is a good number to start.
Ooh, that's powerful.
And our slogan, which I think you'll like, is it's the sword and the shield. The sword is the people's power. The shield is that we have a bunch of lawyers that if you get messed with, they will represent you in court, because we're not going to stop all the evictions right away. But but the lawyers have turned back 2/3 of the evictions in, quote, the legal, because there were so many bogus things. The other thing that I wanted to say, which I think you'll both smile at and cringe at, is because we built some movement, who comes out to these rallies then? The local politicians. All of a sudden, they're out there. I'm against the speaking property, blah, blah, blah. You know, okay, we let them speak because they could speak if they want to. But we're always saying just what you said. The power, the reason they're out there is because we're out there, first of all. And we ain't going to get no change, even in the courts, unless we do what you said. So it takes time. And you know that they also used fear against people. So even when people come together, lock you up, you know, go after you for a stupid parking ticket that you have that's outstanding. They have ways of trying to terrorize people. So we'll see what happens. But we've been in there for 2 or 3 weeks now, and things are starting to rock, and it's just exciting.
And, you know, just even, you know, providing a connection in terms of being Black in America, and my fears begin to take, you know, shape just in terms of like, once things, quote unquote, settle down and, you know, different elected officials, you know, taking office now. And I don't see the same fight. I don't see the same, like, not even anger, just like perspective in terms of, to your point, just all the, you know, the bullshit and all the terrible things that people are, you know, continuing to just go up against within their communities. And for whatever it's worth, you know, there was a face in terms of the vitriol and anger. It was Trump, and it was, you know, going against the man and going against the system. But now it just seems like folks are resting on their laurels, and I don't see any marching. And unless it's like a police matter or something along those lines, you really don't see folks who even have a care in the world with regards to making a difference and really trying to make, you know, affect change. And I think that's at the heart of the issue in terms of this cognitive dissonance, you know, that a lot of folks, particularly, you know, within the Black community, feel, just in terms of, well, things are okay, and then when it's not okay, all right, we'll march and, you know, we'll do certain things, and then every 4 years we'll sort of get together and rally against whoever we want to get out of office. And but then after that, like, what happens? Nothing happens. Well, you know, and then once you get real quick, in terms of the politicians showing their face, like after you guys, you know, present your power. And I think that's so key, just in terms of the politicians are only going to take the cue from the people. The power is with the people, not with the politicians. So if folks just realize, you know what, they're going to follow our lead, I think that will be key just in terms of affecting change, because now, honestly, whatever sort of mandates were promised to us, they're not meeting those mandates. They're not doing even a quarter of what they said they were going to do for various indigenous and, you know, Black and brown folks within this country. It's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen until perhaps, you know, close to re-election time. And then they're going to pass certain bills. And then it's going to say, oh, wow, they really did a lot of things, you know. But, you know, like you said, it's for the cameras and it's, you know, to put on the show. But nothing really.
Well, I mean, that's why we're trying to build this as, I mean, the thing is, what you're talking about is there's a lot of activism at times, but there's not a lot of building organizations that can then build for bigger struggles. So, you know, whether it was the Black Panther Party back in the day or some of the union struggles or even the civil rights movement, where they were building power in the community and they had organizations that represented that power, that's what had to be built. So, you know, having a demonstration is all well and good, but this group that I'm in, City Life, Vida Urbana, City Life, is trying to build, and it has built. It has a number of, you know, we have hundreds of tenants all around the state now that are involved. We're trying to build exactly what you're talking about, some organization that says, no, the fight isn't over after one building or after one, you know, and we're not just going to do rallies. So it doesn't matter who's elected, the most liberal candidate, because there's a pretty liberal candidate running for office. We don't care.
Yes.
You're in office.
Matters. Two sides of the same coin. Right.
Well, and you know, we're going to jack you up. If you say something, then we're going to jack you up, because if you don't back it up, we're going to expose you again. But I'm with you. That's what we're trying to do, like build organizations so that struggle continues. That takes time. I don't know what's going to happen, but again, hearing some of these people just step out of their own comfort zone, because they're upset, as you would say, with some of their neighbors, because their neighbors say, oh, we can't do anything, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's a long journey.
Yep. And it's at the heart of, you know, just in terms of, you know, my nephew had a project in terms of asking me, you know, some of the issues in terms of education and, you know, white supremacy and racism overall in education, and how do we sort of rectify the achievement gap and so on and so forth. And I told him at the heart of the issue, honestly, is sort of, you know, some of the things that, you know, as educators, administrators and principals and teachers that we, you know, sort of confronted head on, you know, just in terms of the lack of funding and a lack of financial capital that's put within these inner city communities. So, you know, you go to various communities, you know, upper class and, you know, upscale communities, and a lot of the funding comes directly from the taxes they pay on their homes. So in other words, they pay high taxes, therefore those taxes are allocated into schools. So hence why those schools in those communities are a lot better than the inner cities. Whereas in the inner cities that we've, you know, dealt with directly, they don't have that you know, that tax money, you know, coming from home. So it's sort of like you got to piecemeal things together in terms of, you know, trying to find teachers, and a lot of times, you know, trying to get teachers from, you know, various organizations that have to like train on the job. You know, mind you, I was one of those teachers that sort of got trained on the job, you know, quiet as kept. But I mean, but that's at the heart of the issue, just in terms of this achievement gap. You have it because the haves and the have-nots is such a, you know, discrepancy in terms of funding. You know, and it's just to really correct that evil, you got to get at the heart of the matter in terms of providing a proper education for our young people, which is, you know, at the heart of, you know, what the three of us, what we, you know, continue to do every day. And it's just an ongoing struggle, and it's our fight, and it's, you know, something that we're just going to continue to deal with as long as we have breath, you know, within this country. Yeah. So Sundiata, Lew was building on the work that he's doing with the Tenants Association in terms of folks getting displaced. And I guess they had a couple of, not marches, but just, what do you call it, little like gatherings. I guess they have one this past Saturday.
I mean, I don't want to repeat too much of it, but it's in Georgetown Homes, which is out in Hyde Park. And, you know, it's gentrifying. You know, they're evicting hundreds and hundreds of people without fault, even without fault. Raising rents, because, you know, what they want to do is they want to do ethnic cleansing. They want to get all the Black and brown people out. They're building a train station out there in Hyde Park. So, you know, So we had a rally through the thing, and people are starting to come forward. You know, it takes time. We know that, but it takes time. Um, but I was just looking if if I can find it now. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. Hold on. Just hold on one second. I'm just gonna read this to you. This is from Alice Walker.
You can share your screen if you want, Lou. You have access to do that if you want.
Don't. It's okay. There is always a moment in any struggle when one feels in full bloom. People standing side by side have expressed who they really are, and that they ultimately believe in the love of the world and in each other enough to be that which is the foundation of activism. Alice Walker. Like that. And I know that moment. I felt it. I saw it with some of the young people and older people there. They were in full bloom. I was saying that they were saying, look, I've always been afraid to talk. I thought I was a timid person. But when they started speaking their truth, all that went away, all the timidness, all the fear. They were like in full bloom. So we'll see. And we hope we build organization, because, you know, like just being an activist isn't enough. You have to have an organization to build on.
And I was just telling, I was just mentioning as well, Sundiata, that I guess my worst fear is sort of like, you know, sort of taking shape in terms of Black folks, you know, not realizing that the struggle continues. So, you know, we elected certain officials, you know, we gave them their government posts now, and it's just like Black folks are sort of sitting on their laurels and thinking everything is hunky dory. We're all good now. There's not really to fight against now. I guess like Darth Vader is no longer there in the White House now, so it's just all is well. And I think that's at the heart of the issue, just in terms of putting one man as the face of all the evils within America, as opposed to just, you know, sort of taking ownership and responsibility for sort of affecting change within your community, you know, sort of doing a lot of things, the activism and just having a say in terms of protesting, you know, all this, you know, the evils and everything which is going on within your neighborhoods, and hoping to rectify the situation yourself, as opposed to looking outside of yourself for support. You know what I mean? And I think as Black folks, you know, I'm not going to say we because I'm not doing it, but a lot of Black folks just have to do better, just in terms of taking ownership for where they are and like gathering individuals, because there's no more powerful, you know, I think, speaking truth to power than a group of individuals with a singular focus and voice, really hoping to affect change. Just getting a group of folks together, you know, protest and march and really, you know, project your voice, make it known. And then, as Lew mentioned, that, you know, the politicians, you know, started showing their faces, although they had nothing to do with what was going on. They just wanted to, you know, put themselves out there in terms of saying, hey, I'm a part of the struggle too, which we know they're not. But if folks just really presented their voice out there, the politicians will follow suit. They'll have no choice, because they'll get up out of there. Like once they realize that people really do have the power in terms of really affecting change within their communities. So, yeah, you know, I just need Black folks just to take ownership of where they are and just the power that we wield within this country, you know?
Yeah, you know, I think from my perspective, I agree 100% with what you said
right.
about self-empowerment and doing things for self. I'm also in the spirit of Malcolm, as far as by all means necessary. You know what I mean? If you have to use a advantage, you know, from a place that's maybe not you know, directly from you, and you use that to your advantage as with your own power, you know, you're using everything that you have to win, then I'm not against that either. I do feel like if you have to be careful about being appropriated in any kind of way. If you take too much help or take too much guidance from outside sources, they start running your agenda. They start, you know, kind of, they can change things if you're not careful. But I do think, I think, you know, like I heard somebody say, you know, you get paid from the devil, but you work for God. You know what I'm saying? People have to do what they have to do. We live in this system. You know, you do what you do in order to eat and survive. And, you know, we can say, well, we want to do for self. Well, okay, good. Some people have to work for a system or a corporation, or be a teacher, or be a policeman, or whatever it is that they think is going to make it, you know, so that they can survive. In the meantime, while we're trying to set up these systems for self-expression and self-preservation, Take a time. We have to take a grand step out, but we're still in a situation. It's sticky. You know what I mean? You want to stand up for yourself and stand on your own, but at the same time, man, you got a lot of structures that have been placed that you have to move through. So I don't know. I don't want to talk in circles. I'm just saying, by all means necessary is the way I look at it. Any and all. I know Malcolm said any. KRS changed it to all. I use whatever advantage we have to use.
Right.
It's chess, not checkers.
Right. And to that point, I actually got this book, started diving into it. Black Skin, White Mask. Have you guys heard of this book?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Fanon.
It's Fanon.
Oh, man. What a deep book, man. I'm just diving into it. And just talk about, white fragility in terms of, how whites deal with, obviously being at the top of the hierarchy. And then, of course, as Black folks, how we sort of at the lower end of the spectrum in terms of everything, every sort of perspective we have is based on being a Black man in this lower, low end of the totem pole in reference to who we are as a people within this social structure. And, it's just, it's really thought provoking, and it's really interesting, just tying it into just being Black in America. And Lew, we spoke about this all the time in terms of being a Black man in America. Like everything is based on the societal norms that we didn't set, that we did not create, but yet it's there. So in other words, all the fears that we have is based from a white supremacist ideal, not even white supremacist, just a white ideal, just in terms of, the fears and various things that perhaps white folks are struggling with or white folks have to deal with. It's sort of put within the masses because, of course, they represent the majority, and as Black folks, we represent the minority. I hate even using those terms, but it is what it is, just in terms of, Black folks, even on a smaller scale, I can recall back from my mom always being so cognizant of putting, suntan lotion on, and, it's bad for your skin to be outside, Charles, and you don't want to go outside, Charles, and, it's just, but when you think about it, it's just, no, that's, I guess some of the things that, white people, tend to go through in terms of, not, I guess being recessive in terms of the sunlight and, having certain other issues in terms of being in the sun. So but of course, because we are, in this white dominant society, we have to take on that sort of idea, and it's just, that's even on a smaller scale, So it's interesting that even as Black folks, like what's our perspective? What's our projection to the world? Like, who are we as a people separate from this idea of being inferior to white people, And I think that's the charge that, Black folks have in this country in terms of figuring that out, Interesting dichotomy, man. Very interesting.
And that was some deep way you put it down. Lew looks like he got something on his mind. Go ahead, Lew.
I was just going to say, Charles, I don't know who hipped you to Frantz Fanon, because he wrote in the 70s, and he's an African. He wasn't African American. He was an African talking about colonialism and what it's absolutely analogous to what happened here. Yeah. And now today, people are writing some of the same stuff. Just like James Baldwin put stuff down. And, people writing about white fragility and white supremacy. Like, this isn't new shit. There are people who've
nothing new under the sun.
About this for a long time. And I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about, again, I guarantee you, if we went around even to quote educated folks and said, do you know Frantz Fanon, black skin, white mask? They wouldn't know what we've been talking about. But he was a profound influence to us back in the day, to what he was talking about, because he wasn't just talking about the struggle, about the economics. He was talking about also just what you were talking about, the psychological struggle.
Invisible man, you know what I mean? Emerson spoke, being a black man in America, you know what I mean? Not having a voice, not having a say in terms of who we are within this society. Absolutely.
Right. And so in that way, what we talked about before, it's fucking psychotic to be a black person in this country and in any colonial situation. Because for you to, even the black folks in Africa who, quote, made it back during colonialism, you know, they get to go to Oxford or Cambridge or some fancy school. They had to put on the airs of the oppressor. They couldn't just be who they were. They had to speak with a certain intonation. They had to, you know, read the King's English. They were becoming civilized. Fuck you, they're becoming civilized. But it again goes to Sundiata's point, by whatever means, any means necessary. I understood why some, frankly, that's what Nelson Mandela did, right? He got educated outside, and he took his knowledge and he said, no, I'm not going to be a house slave. I got educated, now I'm coming back. But even he had to go through that kind of psychotic change of like language, affect, how you dress, black skin, white mask, no matter what. Thank you for asking me, Sundiata.
Now we're getting to some stuff right now, because you know, this is at the base. I think, you know, you two really both hit it on the head. This is at the base of what's going on with us, what's going on with Europeans or Caucasians. There's this inner struggle to find or to identify who we are. You know what I mean? For us, the labeling right off top is taking us off base. I always make I lick a shot at that black thing. You know what I mean? All those connotations that have been attached, the political association with all of that, we've tried our best to put a positive swing on it. But really, it's a waste of time when we understand what the legal ramifications are. So to get, you know, deeper into it, looking at ourselves, how we talk, how we dress, how we you know, when we get in the mix with other people, like, you know, if you're from around the way, do you change how you speak when you get in the presence of certain people?
That's what he talks about in the book. Yep.
And do you even realize if you're doing it? If you don't do it, are you not doing it consciously because you know that you've been psychologically programmed to start speaking this way when you're to show your intellect, to show your civilization, right? And it's funny to me because why would we be trying to be civilized or trying to show civilization in contrast with a history of, oh boy, barbarism? That, you know, we can go there with everybody on the planet, but nobody needs to be pointing fingers. And we should stop trying to act like other people, especially those who have oppressed. We need to stop. And we've done some oppression ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
This is something, you know, we have to take ownership of. We have to look at, you know, what happened. I'm sure the Slavs are not too happy about that. The harems that used to go down, I'm sure there's some, you know, women that's not too pleased behind those, you know, once you get into the real deal. But I think we need to find out who we are, stop pointing fingers, start cleaning up our own backyards, you know what I mean? And that's how people can start. I mean, you know, there's gonna be some shit thrown, you know what I'm saying? It is. But it's like when it's not necessary, we should try to build higher levels, I think. Because otherwise it just goes in a circle like this.
Revolution, as you mentioned, you know, you mentioned repeatedly throughout, you know, various podcasts, man. Revolution just means, you know, just recidivism, just in terms of doing the same thing over and over and over again.
You know what I mean? What's that movie where they kept coming back to it? Groundhog Day, kept going back around and around and around. We don't want to do that. We want to see something different, you know, different outcomes.
We're still struggling. We're still marching. We're still protesting. Like, honestly, like, where have we gone? Like, I mean, I guess, you know, there's been some progress, but nowhere near where it should be. You know what I mean? At all. And I think that's unfortunate.
We're still protesting and marching. I remember Malcolm called the thing on Washington, he called it the farce on Washington. You know what I mean? And he had his reasons for that. Because marching and protesting.
It's a dog and pony show. Yeah.
It's dog and pony, and it also points to a certain you're giving up a certain amount of your ownership to what it is. So if I'm protesting against these particular laws, which are unjust, which are based not in law, but in legalese, if I'm supporting them by protesting for you to change them and do me right within these parameters, I'm still saying that I'm down with being in your matrix that you created for me. Instead of saying, I reject that. You know what I'm saying? I'm in it, but there's a certain level of my consciousness that I reject that and what you're doing. So I have to think I think we need to think on a different level. You know what I'm saying?
You know, but I guess the question I would raise is, as Black folks, how can we find our voice in this environment, like in this white supremacist environment? Because honestly, we have to sort of ingratiate ourselves. If a Black person wants to quote unquote make it, they have to be appealing to a white person. They can't, present themselves as this dominating Black man, and God forbid you have dreads or, a big beard or, sort of, like scary. Yeah, exactly. It's just, God forbid you have a deep voice, all the things that, doesn't really resonate with popular, with a lot of, I guess, popular Caucasian societal norms. And God forbid you deviate from that, it's going to be hard to, various points sort of quote unquote make it, but I guess, to your point in terms of the question that I'm raising, can a Black person truly find their voice within this society? I don't know if you can. I'm at the point where you have to sort of deviate and sort of go into that entrepreneurial route in terms of just, building your own nation. Like, I'm not sure, because I'm not sure that anyone's going to give anyone a platform unless you sort of take on those societal norms of not being a what's the word? Not being presented a certain way for white America to sort of look at you in an appealing way, in an appealing manner. So God forbid a Black person, comes across as Malcolm X, and we saw what happened. Like, anyone who sort of like deviates, goes against the grain, we've seen what's happened to them throughout the years. So I'm at the point where I don't think a Black person can truly find their voice totally ingratiated within white culture. You have to sort of build your own nation to really find out and really, move and maneuver in a manner that fits who you are as a Black Asiatic person. I don't think you can, move in a certain manner within societal constructs within white America unless you conform to their values. So I don't think it's possible. And to that point, I think I've sort of conformed in a lot of ways. Just looking at what I had to do in terms of getting the degrees and moving and doing certain things. But to really find my voice, I sort of had to deviate from that and sort of create my own lane in terms of trying to, build my own, in terms of build my own school and, trying to start organization and do various things. And I don't think I could have found that just continuing along the manner in which I was moving, and I think Sundiata is doing that as well in terms of like, displaying your art form and doing various things as well. And I think, honestly, for Black folks in particular who's looking to find their voice, I think you have to do it outside of the societal norms of white America. You just have to just go build your own lane in terms of whatever self-fulfillment you want to present to society.
I think that's a valid opinion. It's a valid point of view. And I think it's going to work that's going to be what it is for many people, that they have to look inward. I think you answered your own question or solved your own riddle. It's like, if you feel like this is not, that the all the signs are saying this path is not working, then you make another path. You know what I'm saying? Like Yoda had to teach them when they were looking for that star cluster and they couldn't find it. And he said, well, all right, younglings, they say that this star place is here, but on the maps it ain't there. And how could this be? And the young kid said, somebody took it off the map. Mm. And Yoda said, the wonders of a young mind. So pretty much it's the same concept, you know what I mean? If we know that, if you feel that it's working a certain way for you from your paradigm, then you need to follow that path for you. You know what I'm saying? Some people, they might feel like, I use my mother as an example. She believes in the goodness of everyone. You know what I mean? She's
as well.
from a time when, you know, she seen things that was bad, you know what I mean? Like Mississippi in the 50s, there was a lot of stuff popping. But, you know, she's one of those people who believes in the goodness within people. And, you know, it always exists. You have that duality all the time. You know, some people are more disposed, I think, to do evil or, you know, deviate. And then some people are more disposed to, you know, move on the other side of that pole. But you have to have balance, and both of them are supposed to be there anyway, because you can't have one without the other, right? So, you know, just follow your heart, follow what it's telling you to do. I think our people should do what you're saying, is look more inward. We've tried the other way many times. You know, some of us have made it. We made it. We made money. You know, does that solve the problem? You know, Marcus would say no. If you have money, how can you sit back and be happy and your brothers and sisters are suffering? You know what I mean? You can't feel like you've won. You know what I mean? But that's one mentality. Some people say, I don't care about them. I just want to do for me and mine because America's messed up now and I don't believe in the system anymore. You have that exists too. You know what I mean? Some of that is survivalist and, you know, might come from a different place. Who am I to say that you don't know you're wrong? It's gonna work out. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's a many-layered onion. That's all I'm saying. Many ways to look at it.
Yeah. What do you think, Lew?
You know, I fundamentally agree with Sundiata about there are many ways to look at it. And I understand what you're saying as well. And who am I to say, you know, what's going to bring about the most fundamental change? But I guess where I would deviate from in many ways would be, I would be much more like what, you know, Brother Malcolm came to, which is, you know, black and white and Asian and all folks uniting to get rid of a corporate system that exploits people. And then maybe afterwards we have to talk about how to divide the pie up, and even while we're fighting for it. So you know, so all I can say is like with the tenant stuff, right? That's happening in real time. People are getting evicted this moment in real time without a home. We can try to, and I don't think it's bad to build some housing and we fight for that, but we don't have a choice to always build something different. Though it's good if it gets built, and so that's what I'm saying. Like you starting your own school and, you know, serving people, I think that's really important. That's why I agree with Sundiata. There's more than one way that this struggle gets built. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
And even taking a life of Malcolm, and of course, I think today's Malcolm's born day, so big ups of respect to that. Just looking at his life, honestly, he found his voice once he left the nation, right? So in terms of talking about, you know, like ingratiating himself and working with various other races, I mean, he had to like take himself out of the nation and sort of live life and find out things on his own and sort of gain that knowledge of self, like outside of the voices which, you know, sort of help create Malcolm X, you know, and, you know, he found that outside of that. He sort of found that within himself. To your point, Sundiata, you know, he found that sort of knowledge of self, you know, within, you know, just like traveling and seeing for himself in terms of, wow, so I guess everyone is not the devil, but that's what I was taught. So it's sort of, you know, how do you sort of change the paradigm? You just got to live life. And then honestly, like with your third eye open. And then Malcolm was able to have that third eye open once he sort of, you know, separated from the masses and sort of gained that knowledge, you know, internally, you know. And I guess the call is to what you both were saying, that everyone needs to find that inner strength, find that higher self, whatever you want to call it, in terms of figuring out who you are in this world and what your purpose is. In particular with Black folks, I think is key. I definitely think it's key.
We start at our foundation, like these pyramids, you know what I mean? And it goes up. And the pyramids, that foundation starts in the dirt, where there's soot, shit, all of that, right? In order to build seeds and keep moving forward. So Right now, we might be in one of them level foundational states. You know what I'm saying? You building schools, but like Lew said, there's people being put in the street in real time. There's children who don't have places to go and sleep at night. Because they don't have the foster care systems set in place in places like Florida, where they have five foster care handlers for one county. You know what I mean? A pretty big county too. And so, you have a lot of these real-time problems.
Right.
And until we start to pool our resources seriously,
right.
some of us are going to be still in the mix, kind of working through the vehicles that we can to help and do what we can do. While we got the trailblazers like yourself and others who are going to be out there building those platforms so that we can, move further and faster to be able to do these things on our own.
Right.
I might have lost y'all. Looks like I'm on Stucky.
Lew, you there, brother?
We hear you though, brother.
We hear you, Sundiata. We hear you. We just.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we hear you. You hear us? Boom.
Okay,
for a minute, Sundiata, you got really black.
I got what?
You got really black for a minute.
Yeah.
I was going to say though, on the real is that, Charles, what I think is that all these things, and if we could build a movement that was both, and again, we did somewhat to what the Panthers did, right? Like you're building alternative institutions that are serving the people in real time, and you're fighting the system because we can't build, your school can only serve so many folks, right? So at the same time, we're doing that and it's serving people, and we have a place to send people. We're fighting, if it's in Jersey, like, that Maplewood or Montclair or wherever, Summit, New Jersey, they have a tax base that can support schools with much more money. We might be fighting for, and I'm glad people are like, no, that's unequal. That goes straight to unequal access to education. So I feel like it's all the things. Like if we could build a real organization that did it all, right, like deliver it in real time against struggle and also was building the alternative things, it would be, both would scare the system.
Right.
Both would scare the system.
And I think that's what folks are scared of. And I think the power is in the people. And I think the mistake that we made perhaps in the past was sort of entrusting like one person or, a couple of folks to sort of be the mouthpiece for Black America. Like there isn't any other like ethnic groups in this country who need a mouthpiece. So why do Black Americans, why do we need a mouthpiece? Like why can't, we just sort of have that knowledge of self? There's so much power in groups of individuals as opposed to just one person. Because once you knock that person off, what you got?
Indeed, Charles, that is it exactly. I agree 110%.
Right.
When you have, even in Malcolm's case, what I mean?
It almost makes you think it was done on purpose that way. It almost makes you think that folks are sort of propped up in a certain way so that the powers that be know they're just going to knock them off. In the past, perhaps, the power was given to various individuals to sort of be the mouthpiece. And because, I heard some things about, Reverend Al moving with some folks we should be moving with in terms of, being a double, whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean?
He's down with that. It could be, there's groups who work with them. You have people with certain names of organizations,
right.
And they have their own brotherhoods and things, and they're paid to do what they do, and they serve their purpose. Some of them have actually done good. We've talked about some of those people on this show before, but I don't call nobody out. What I say is, though, what you're saying is exactly true. You got people who are puppets. You got people who come out and speak when the time, looks like.
Who's the lawyer that comes out every time something goes down? What's his name? What's the lawyer? Every time there's a police matter, what's his name?
That they put in front of us. Oh, this is your guy.
Exactly.
It's, if you look at military strategy, cut off the head and the snake dies. That's an old tactic. They know that.
Yep.
If you organize structures like that, based off of ego, usually, because people want to be in the spotlight, you know what I'm saying? And they want to be these heroes. And some of them are willing to go through what it goes through, you know, in order to be those people.
Right.
But in the long run, like you said, you need organizations that run on their own. If a spoke fall off, there's another one. There's 9 spokes. So one of those spokes, it doesn't matter, we're still rolling.
Boom.
Right.
So to that point, this sort of ties into, in certain respects, Brother Kyrie, wait a minute. Kyrie mentioned focusing on issues other than basketball. Basketball is just not the most important thing to him right now. Let me see if I can find the video. Give me a second.
Deep.
Lew, did you see the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see if I could.
You know, we talk about constant issues that the brothers go through.
Right.
Trying to have a positive podcast, and somebody's outside my spot trying to break in the cars. That's why I had to jump off.
Whoa! You serious?
Yeah, 5-0 outside and all of this. You know what I mean? My daughter was trying to go to the store, and so now I got to go out and play daddy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, it really never stops. And I try to get my family to, you know, a community that's kind of quiet and calm, because we've been through it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. We all live in our communities. You know what I'm talking about? Both of you.
Yep.
It wears on you after a while. You know, sometimes you get to a point where you say, okay, a good night of peace is cool. You know, every once in a while, you got to deal with what you got to deal with still, even in the so-called area it's supposed to be a little better.
Right. Let me see if I can find. I'm having one.
Consciousness in basketball, huh?
And he's a different cat too. My man is he's doing sage. He's saging the arena before each game.
Really?
Yeah, Kyrie's a different cat, man. He's a different dude.
Okay. Sounds like somebody been studying.
Yep.
Sage, frankincense, myrrh.
Hold on. Can you guys hear me? Wait a minute. I think
I hear you.
I hear you.
My computer got a mind of its own. Hold on.
You're moving a little bit, you know, choppy, but I hear you fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on.
Kind of remind me of the Terminator 2 in that second one.
Like I'm not. Yeah, things aren't. Oh man, this is. Oh, there we go. Wait, let's see. Okay.
Oh, I missed it. Paul. Respect to Paul Mooney.
Right.
You guys might have talked about it and when I ran out, but respect to Paul. It's interesting that he would die on Malcolm's birthday.
All right, I don't know what's on the video, so I mean, you guys can see it. Kyrie essentially said, I'm not going to lie to you guys. There's a lot going on in this world, and basketball just isn't the most important thing for me right now. Irving said, there's a lot going on abroad. A lot of our people are still in slavery across the world, and there's a lot of dehumanization going on. So I apologize if I won't focus on your questions. Too much is happening in the world for me to just talk about basketball. I focus on this most of the time, 24/7, but there's too much going on in this world not to address. It's sad to see this happening. I'm not just in Palestine, not just in Israel, it's all over the world, and I can feel it. I'm very compassionate about it, to all races, cultures, and to see it, and to see a lot of people being discriminated against because of their religion, the color of their skin, what they believe is just sad. That's a deep brother. Man, but to that point, you know, you got your pundits, you know, coming on, you know, various outlets, and they're denigrating Kyrie for, you know, having a mind outside of basketball and not caring about basketball the way that they feel like he should, you know. It's really unfortunate because he seems to have knowledge himself, you know, and but he seems to be blasted for having a perspective on life beyond basketball, you know. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, you know, well, you know, they don't. Unfortunately, if we really break it down, they don't pay us to go out there and be political. They don't pay you to go out there and think. They pay you to go out there and play ball. You know what I'm saying? And some of us, being alive and awake, say, okay, well, now I'm in this position. Why don't I use my voice? Why don't I use my money? Why don't I go back and help the neighborhood and all of that? Unfortunately, they're going to get them dudes a hard time, especially if you're not doing what we were talking about earlier, which is to kind of conform, make people happy and comfortable. You're not, not dangerous. You're not trying to do too much. And this is the one thing I don't understand. Okay, I can see if somebody felt like, well, I don't owe you nothing. Okay, slavery's over, whatever. I don't owe you nothing. All right, I disagree with that, of course, vehemently. But to just say that I'm mad at you because you're trying to do something for yourself, you're not taking nothing from me, and you're trying to do something for yourself, and I'm mad about that, and I'll attack you about that like Tulsa 100 years ago. That's that bullshit. You see what I'm saying? And that's that what makes you go to the next with it. You know what I mean? Outside, I'm not for a whole bunch of static and turbulence. We just read there was 33 people killed and 3 buildings razed, and in one day over there in Gaza Strip. It happens all over the world. People are killing each other and violence is happening, but you gotta let people be people. You gotta let people try to breathe. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get it off their neck, literally. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I just read it to see an athlete just so introspective, being honest with you. Lew, maybe you can give me some reflection in terms of, I'm trying to figure out the person who was just so worldly in terms of just his perspective, and I can't, I'm trying to find them. I mean, I want to say Muhammad Ali, but that's, of course, I'm trying to find someone else we can even compare, to just in terms of what he brings to the table.
Yeah.
There is no other Ali.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Ali was next level.
Ali separate.
Blow your bike truck on
it. Exactly.
Ali was next level because he not only spoke, I mean, he put his whole career.
He gave him his title. He said, "I'll take your title. I'm good. I'll fall back for 3.5 years."
They did take his title, and they talked about locking him up. It was only because the movement was strong enough and it looked so ridiculous that he didn't get locked up. But I wanted to say about Kyrie is he does think about things like and he, I feel like, is saying exactly what we've been talking about, which is, okay, I am in your world. I am. I'm making some good money. I think about playing ball. It's a good thing, he's not disrespecting it.
Nope.
But right now, at this moment in time, I'm not thinking about ball. That's not what I'm thinking about. He owned it. He didn't even say, he owned in that moment that this is just not a time I'm really feeling ball. And
that he was the one last year who was against those players playing last year. He's saying he didn't. You know what? I don't think the athletes should go down there in Orlando and play any game. So his credit, he's sort of like standing on his ground.
Kyrie also talked about ball players being artists, and everybody got, not everybody, but the pundits again. Oh, what are you talking about? You're trying to raise it up to, again, fuck you. We are artists. That's exactly what we are. It's a different art form, but is ballet art? According to everybody else, it's art. So to me, Kyrie, Kyrie, I think, is a little nuts. But that doesn't take away his insights, because I'm really nuts, and it doesn't take my insights away. So I thought it was really good what he said, and I think the player similar to that, in my opinion, back in the day, and he's a little older than even my brother Sundiata, was Lew who became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he spoke out. He wasn't Ali.
I was thinking Jim Brown too, but I think Jim Brown's even more, in terms of an activist. I don't think Kyrie's on that level.
No, he isn't. But Jabbar was one of those players who spoke out. He was active. He was also very, intellectual.
That's a good one.
He'd done deep reading, and he'd gone to school, and he's a brilliant man. But he reflected that. And I can remember back in the day when he changed his name. He changed his name. That's it. He changed it from Lew Alcindor to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You should have heard the white people talking about what the fuck, you know, like, why are you getting all heated? The man wants it. That's how attached, you know, again, this is the flip side, how attached white people are about staying your, I'm going to say it, I don't like saying it, but stay in your place, boy. Just stay in your place. We love you, Lew Alcindor. You're a great ball player. You give back to the community. But now if you're going to veer off and be your own man, no, that you can't, your name, that's like heresy. And I can remember getting in arguments all the time, and there really wasn't talk radio, but if there had been talk radio, you would have heard all these crazy white folks doing it. And we talked about this many times, not many times, but a few times, when Ali changed his name. And
so it was even more anger, right? I mean,
and then Floyd Patterson wouldn't call him. He kept calling him.
He beat his ass, right?
Let me. Yeah. Right. And you know, and we all know the story. Yeah. That was a mistake.
Say my name. Say my name.
He kept saying, he kept jabbing him. He wouldn't knock this motherfucker out. He would not knock him out. And he kept jabbing and saying, say my name. Say my name. So, you know, even within, as you said, even within the black community, there was people who thought like Floyd Patterson, why are you being so uppity and changing your name to be some kind of Muslim thing? And Floyd Patterson disrespected him. I'm telling you, I had so much fun watching Ali hit this cat and go, say my name.
So Lou, I hate to add a little bit of clarity on this. Okay. Floyd Patterson. Floyd Patterson got beat up twice by Ali, but he wasn't the one who disrespected him and made him mad. That was Ernie Terrell, the octopus you're talking about. And
really?
Yes.
Okay.
Look it up. So in that fight, yeah, he whipped him good, and like you said, he kept telling him, say my name, because they even argued about it. He was like, why you want to say my name, man? You know, he was like, well, you know, they had a little pre-fight, you know what I'm saying, before the fight. But I wanted to speak on Ali's name thing. Ali's name change was just like with Lew Alcindor, you know what I mean, with Kareem. Let me say with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when he changed off his government name and threw away those shackles, when they both did that, they represented something that was, you know, at that time wasn't all that popular or heard of so much. But with Ali's case, if you notice, they did try to put him in jail. Yeah. I read a book about 3 years ago.
For the name change, even separate from Vietnam, you're saying?
Huh?
They try to throw him in jail for the name change, you're saying?
No. I'm saying when they try to put him in jail for him not going to Vietnam.
Yep.
Well, when I looked into the case, there's a book, I don't have it in my hand right now, but anyway, I read it a couple of years ago. They had in there the paperwork that he used, and a lot of people don't know, he won his case because he made clear that he had a nationality. That was something, remember, he was underneath Elijah Muhammad. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was underneath Noble Drew Ali, the Moor. And so Ali got a nationality, and that's why he was able to stand on his cipher, on his square, when it came time to him for his case, and he won.
What was Elijah Muhammad also under Farad Muhammad as well? I mean, was he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing is, okay.
He was a white man, by the way, which is an interesting dichotomy. You know what I mean?
He wasn't straight white. He was
right.
He was a mixture. He was a mixture of a man. But he himself was shown in pictures at the temple too, with Noble Drew Ali.
Who's that?
Master Farad. Then there's been things said about that. So I'm not coming as any type of scholar on that. But as far as that goes, that whole nationality thing goes deep. Ali knew about it, and that's why he won his case. You know what I'm saying? And those people who do take to the power of Kujichagulia, which is self-determination, to define ourselves, name ourselves, and speak for ourselves, instead of it being defined and spoken for by others, and taking it into the lawful manners of using it, there's power in it. So look into Ali's case on your own. You know, I tell anybody, look into his case and see why did he win his case.
It's deep.
Yeah. What's in the name? A lot.
And then it makes you think even, of course, looking at athletes now, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is obviously a white man, but it's just anyone who sort of goes against the grain. So, you know, Aaron Rodgers wants to leave. Apparently, he wants to leave Green Bay. And there's another guy as well. Who was the other guy? Deshaun Watson, you know, the black man who wanted to leave the Texans and, you know, all this other stuff coming down in terms of with the massage therapist, like 20 of them, like a Bill Cosby thing. And it's interesting that folks who sort of want to go against the system is sort of being whipped, saying, no, how dare you? You know, we have all these like old heads, you know, I think even Brett Favre said something against it. Oh, these new age people, these new age athletes, what are they talking about? Why are they trying to do this and why are they do that? It's just, you know, to your point in terms of boy, stay in your place, boy. You know, and of course Aaron Rodgers is a white man, but it's just in general. Every time someone tries to just go against the grain and try to, you know, exit out of the matrix or sort of, you know, want to provide like a voice that sort of deviates from the norm, they get chastised for it. You know, it's really unfortunate.
Look at Prince. You know?
Yep.
Prince was quiet for decades. Nobody heard. He was called mysterious and you know, whatever. He finally opened up about some things and started talking about what was going on in the sky and, you know, asked a couple of just key questions. And, you know, I'm not saying that he was taken out, but I'm saying that there have been some conspiracies. There was, I mean, some thoughts, and his death is a little shrouded in mystery a little bit, just like his life, you know.
To that point, I'm assuming that's why he changed his name to the symbol, because the I guess the folks who were trying to make him put out a record, he said, you trying to make me do that? All right, I'm not Prince anymore. I'm this. And what? You know, I mean, that's next level, right?
Yeah, Prince was on something. He was talking about, he put slave, he tattooed himself slave, and he was talking about how the record companies were controlling the artists and who, you know.
That's what I told you about the 432 hertz. You know, Prince said, you know what, music is sort of, you know, they're trying to deviate from it, adding up to 9, you know, 4 + 3 + 2 = 9. So Prince was well aware of that. That's why all of his music was at a certain frequency. You know what I mean? That's why he put out the best music out there. You know, he's aware of like other musicians.
Man, Charles, what is that about? What you mean? Well, for those of us who don't know what you're talking about, what does that mean?
Hey, Charlie. Say hi, Charlie. Okay. It's my little guy. You want to say hi? Come on.
Okay. Hey, Charlie.
Okay.
What's up?
Where's your Warriors hat, Charlie?
Yeah, Charlie. Are you letting him stay up, Charles, to watch the game?
Little bit. I know it starts at 10.
Well, I'll have to send it. I should get an email for Charlie so I can send him an email in the morning with a big picture of Lakers win on it.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay.
All down with the Lakers.
Real quick. Oh, wow. There we go. He's ready. He got his Warriors hat. Okay.
Charlie, that's as close as the Warriors are going to come. The hat that you have on your head.
Okay. Bye, Charlie. Love you, sir.
Oh, no.
All right.
So what's that numerology about you was talking about?
Yeah, so what's his name? So I believe Nikola Tesla said if you want to understand the world, you got to recognize the power of 3, 6, and 9, pretty much, right? So from what I was told and what various others said, pretty much the frequency of God rests in those numbers, and specifically 9 representing completion, right? So 10 is completion. 9 is what's 9? 9 I believe is, you know, before you get to completion, it represents harmony with the universe, harmony with God. So pretty much Prince was aware of that. So therefore, he wanted to make sure that all of his music resonated with the universe or resonated with God. So therefore, he used the frequency of 432 megahertz in terms of presenting his music to the masses. Whereas a lot of the music, I believe it was in the 1930s or 40s, I believe, they sort of tried to change the hertz of the music from that, you know, the music of the universe or the sound of the universe, and they changed it to add up to 8. or something along those lines. So they sort of change the frequency in terms of, trying to potentially change the frequency of humanity in terms of being more, as you mentioned, Sundiata, in terms of the polarity, in terms of just being sort of against who you are as a human being. So I think Chris was well aware of that. He was well aware of the knowledge, and, he put that information within his music.
Heavy. I like the way you broke that down too. So you got your numerology of 4 + 3 + 2 is 9. Yep. So we're dealing with on the God cipher, like with mathematics, with supreme mathematics, that will be all born, right?
Yep.
9 is born. So then you have the 440, like you said. They're switching it to 440, that's bringing it to 8. 8 is build and destroy.
Yep.
That's a different concept. You know what I'm saying? And it also represents infinity as well.
Yep.
As far as in frequencies, they resonate and they affect people's bodies and pineal glands different.
Yeah.
I think certain people know that, study that, and change that frequency on purpose.
Correct.
Prince knows that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The lute was used to heal people when they first made it, which became the guitar once Zero stepped up and put that extra string. So if you can use in those kind of vibrations, you can heal people. You can also do other things with it too. Cause madness, cause sadness, cause health.
Alex, come say hi to Charlie and meet Sundiata. Come on.
This is son.
This is
here.
Alex, what's up, brother?
How is everybody?
There's a real big boy who's still breaking at 36 years old. I don't even know how he does it anymore.
You said he's in the Flow Lords, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about them from way back.
Yeah, they've been around forever. We're about to have our 40th anniversary.
Nice.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna put one of your shows, man, on the podcast so folks can see it. I don't know if you don't. Hopefully you don't mind.
Yeah, do it. And put the Flow Lords Instagram. I'll send you the link. My dad will send you the link. Please. Gotcha.
No,
Six-pack is not still breakdancing, is he?
Me? I can't. It's lucky if I can shoot hoops a little bit.
No, I asked your son, is Six-pack still breakdancing?
Yeah. A six-pack?
No,
he's gone.
He's back in the day. Nobody really knows that name except for a lot of the older heads that know that.
That's when I was breaking in the street. They was breaking in the street. That's why I know about it.
Yeah.
I was down with the B-City crew.
So Sundiata, Charles won't know this exactly, but me and Alex used to go, on Memorial Drive when they would close off Memorial Drive on Sundays.
Yeah.
Alex would bring out his fucking cardboard, right? And be breaking in that area. I'd be on my roller skates and he'd have the box. It was hilarious, right? And from there, now he's still, I don't know how he can be doing it at 36 years old, but he does it.
36 is not old.
Now look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady's what, 50? Come on.
George Foreman won the title back in 42.
Yep.
Keep going.
All right.
You know what they say?
I wanted you to meet him.
Nice to meet you, Alex.
Nice to meet you, brother.
We'll let you know, Alex. 1 second. Where's the anniversary going to be?
We'll have all the details coming out soon.
Okay, because you all may want to come up. It's it's an anniversary show, and it's b-boys from all over the world, not just in the United States. People from like Eastern European countries, Japan, because the Flow Lords have a big name. It really is an incredible show.
Dope.
Maybe we don't know.
There are people freestyle, just dancing, and then there's, competitions, but it's all put on by them. They have maybe a little bit of corporate money, but nothing that touches them. They put out their own shirts. It's their own DJs, their own music. It's like liberated music, like what Sundiata is doing. Same thing.
Right.
Well, I'm really glad Sundiata got to meet him.
Yeah, me too. And your son is pretty wise. If he's 36, he's breakdancing, and he knows something maybe that we don't know. I heard Dr. Eileen Bay once say, your age is in your spine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How well your spine works is how old you really are.
Yeah, that could be.
So I know we've been, digging into really heavy topics, but I was having a conversation with a couple of my boys. So I'm going to run it by you guys. Let me get your opinion on it. Let me see if I could find it. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
All right. So if you're forced to take one person out, who are you taking out?
Taking out as far as what?
Taking out. So in other words, of the four, who's the one artist? If you're only forced to choose three artists in terms of, let's say, three artists in terms of representing the culture, in terms of influence, in terms of who you think represents hip hop.
Oh, excuse me.
Who would the three artists be, and who would you take out?
I'm letting you all go first.
My boy, oh man, they went all across the board with this particular question. I hate even doing it. Well, I don't know. Should I go first, or Sundiata, you want to jump in?
Ahead. Step out.
I got you. And this, oh man, for me personally, of the four,
yeah.
Oh man, and this guy, I hate to take him out. If there's one person, unfortunately, if I was forced to take out of that upper echelon, that Mount Rushmore, whatever you want to call it, it's no fault of his own, unfortunately. I think it has to be Big of these artists. And it kills me because I think of the four, I think his flow might have been the best of the four of them. But I just think in terms of his life being cut short, it's really unfair to compare him to the other, in particular Jay-Z and Nas. And in terms of Tupac, they're studying his music on the college level, man. I hate even saying it, but it's just, again, like I said, I think Biggie had the best flow, my personal opinion, of the four. But I think in terms of impact, he only put out 2 albums. Of the four, I think I had to take out Biggie, just being fair to the other, particularly Nas and Jay-Z. And I think in terms of Tupac, I think I may put Tupac as the most impactful artist ever. My own personal opinion. So with that said, damn, I got to take out Big, man. Oh, man. I got to take out Big.
Sundiata, are you ready to go?
Well, that's a strange question for me because those are contemporaries, of mine. So when I say contemporaries, meaning we was all making music at the same time. Yeah. My Mount Rushmore is different. You know what I'm saying? It has people who came before me. So there's no disrespect to these brothers, but I would have 4 different faces. And all of those that you put up there, I have heavy respect for. You know what I mean? Even had the opportunity to work with one of them before. So, I'm gonna just be quiet about it. I think they're all very, very influential people in hip hop. They've all done, magnificent things as far as business-wise, flow.
If you had to take one out, though, hypothetically, if you had to take one out, can you do it?
You won't do it. So, Sundiata, since you won't do it, because I'll do it. But before I do it, who's your 4? Who's your Mount Rushmore then, Sundiata?
I think he said it before in an earlier podcast. Yep.
Yeah, but I don't remember. Yeah. I'm old. I don't remember.
Mine would be definitely KRS-One.
Right.
Yeah.
I would have Kool Keith on that Rushmore. I would have probably, this is where it starts getting a little funny. I would always have Chuck D somewhere in the mix. You know what I mean? Because of what he represented. And LL is a GOAT of sorts. You know what I mean? I give him a lot of credit for what he has done. But then there's also Rakim. So I mean, there's a lot of people that's a hard fight. The only one that I'm 100% sure about is KRS-One. he's definitely going to be on there. You know what I mean? I don't think nobody is servicing him. So outside of that, then them other ones, you know, they're kind of beefing in there. Chuck D got this coming, and you got Rakim over here. You know, but I put Kool Keith in there because I think he's one of the most innovative MCs of all times. I think there's a lot of people who were influenced by him, and he doesn't get a lot of credit for it as far as rhyming different, deciding to speak on different things, not necessarily representing exactly what he was seeing, being able to talk about things outside of his environment. You know, he's from the South Bronx, and them dudes was talking about space.
No doubt.
And not just space, but metaphysics too, in an offbeat manner. And so I put him up there for that.
Sundiata, tell me if I'm wrong, though. I believe I heard an interview. KRS once said the only other artist he'll put on his level is Nasir Jones. Tell me if I'm wrong with that.
I did hear him say that. He said he's the only one that he could put in a battle with him as far as putting works up there.
Yeah. Yes.
Just because KRS is so deeply stacked with albums and
put out over 21 albums. How many? Like so insane. 20 or 20. Go ahead. Yeah.
Between 20 and 28.
Yeah.
We got bangers, and you know, each of his albums got bangers on them.
Right.
You know what I mean, nobody mentioned Keith, but Keith they don't see him as really being a battle MC. But
right.
I think Keith he had a lot of records too.
Right.
There's not too many people that have as many records or albums as him either. You know what I'm saying? LL is not up there. That's why he said the L wasn't a good battle for him, because he just didn't have the body of work. You know what I'm saying? But I put L as one of the greats because of just what he did and how dope he is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It always was.
You know, real quick, and then I just remember, you know, with Tupac, it's just, these dudes were just, I don't know if they were afraid. I mean, Tupac came out with Hit 'Em Up and like all these other tracks, and it's just, you got no reply. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, but you know, they were, you know, sort of like forced to not say anything. But for whatever the case, it's just, Tupac was just rough. I think if Aliens came down and you needed one artist to sort of embody hip hop other than KRS-One, I would put Tupac right there. You know, if you just had someone didn't know anything about hip hop, I would tell him, listen to Tupac's catalog. You know, KRS is right there, Nas is right there, but I may put Tupac as that number one person for me. You know, so that's the power I feel that he had with his words. He didn't just like put a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo things, you know, together without there being any substance to it. You know what I mean? Anyone could put like words on the rhyme. I mean, you know, whatever. But in terms of like, what do your words mean? Like, tell me exactly what each line, how it builds on the other line, and tell me the impact that it makes on society and the world. If I don't feel that impact, I can't put you on there. You know, and I think he's the embodiment of that. You know?
No, Charles, I can't. I'd be wrong. Lew too. I'd be wrong if I didn't chime in at this point, because you're giving Tupac like natural props, right? And you know, I'm from the Solar Panel. Tupac was actually down with us. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so when it comes, and I ain't one of them dudes that likes to ride people either. You know what I'm saying? But it would be wrong for me not to give him his props, being as how he actually stuck his hand out to my personal squad. He was a good friend of one of my best friends on the planet, Didon Skills. And he was actually going to do some things with us, for us, you know what I'm saying, in the note of respect. And so that's why my man thinks he's also the greatest too, because of that personal action. You know, personally, I grew up with Ed O.G. So personally speaking, I would put him as a great, because I known him so long as personal friends. You know, I don't know these other people as personal friends, even though I think they're great on the mic, but you know, they might, I don't know, they might not care if I needed a sandwich or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, so, you know, I just want to give a big shout out to Tupac and his impact on hip hop, what he did. I agree with what you said. There was a lot of thought that went into his in his music, and if you get into his whole
look at his mom, I mean, yeah, come on. yeah.
Saturday we're doing a thing, an event where his brother, Mopreme Shakur, is supposed to be on the panel. We're going to be speaking about, hip hop and creation and stuff. I have the pleasure of knowing his brother too, meeting his brother too, and they're real dudes, you know what I'm saying, who went through the hip hop thing. And as well as being down with the New African Panthers, you know what I'm saying, that whole, there's a real history and legacy with that line, you know what I mean, going back to Mutulu Shakur and, other people, Akinyele Mosier and Brother Watani. Yep. A lot of political prisoners were in the line of Tupac. So he was representing a lot when he spoke.
Mm-hmm. And if they kept this man alive, I mean, who knows the impact he would have had, even beyond hip hop. I think, oh my God, he was a shooting star, man. The sky's the limit, literally, in terms of what he could have been. Oh my God.
Yeah, he was a very.
I'm going to give my answer, but before Sundiata, is that this Saturday?
This Saturday, 1 to 3.
Oh, good. So I'll be able to come because the last time we were out in canvassing the neighborhood for the tenant stuff. We're doing it early in the morning, like at 10. So we'll be done by 12. I'll be there.
Cool. Yes, it's an Eventbrite thing. I sent you guys a link.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Love it.
Minister Server coming in at OG, like I said, Mopreme, Didon, Skills. We got a couple of members from Right Track Program, Coaches, and Karen Clark Still. So, we're going to talk about some issues that, we talk about on The Bill Comes Due. There's some same content, you know what I'm saying?
Beautiful.
Oh, man. Love it.
So I'm going to jump in.
Yes, sir.
If it was young Jay-Z, then I'd knock out Biggie. But young Jay-Z turned into old Jay-Z. And his body of work, from my point of view, even though it's true, he gave a lot. If we're talking about bringing it real, like Charles, you remember when you said like DMX embodies a certain kind of realness?
Yeah, he's the heart. Yep.
Right. Yep. I'm putting Tupac, Biggie, and Nas, and I'm knocking out Jay-Z. If it was young Jay-Z, I felt the heart. I'm not saying it's not a great, like we're talking about like saying who's better. Do I take Stephon Curry or Kyrie Irving? Like, I'll be happy with any of those dudes. You're asking me to make a choice.
Like that.
I'm trying to articulate how I'm making that choice. But if someone said to me, oh, Jay-Z's just a sellout and his music just got worse and worse, that's bullshit. That's not true. But I'm taking it from that thing about bringing it real. Those three, damn. And I go back as far as Sundiata and other people, but that's why I say, I might put other people on there, but I don't even know. Like, it gets really hard because it was a different sound.
I'm going to put 4 other people next week. So it's just, I'm going to keep this going. I like this.
I like it too. I would say this, that,
So you're saying, wait. So just to reiterate, so you're saying you're choosing Jay-Z because you feel like as he's gotten older, his music is not coming from the same heart space as his Reasonable Doubt and...
Absolutely. I don't even think any of us would argue differently, right?
I kind of do. I think everyone evolves, Lou. So I think you're sort of... I mean, everyone evolves as human beings, as people. I mean, Jay-Z came in as a hustler, right? As a businessman, as he said, right? He was hustling, right? So... but he just happened to be good at rap. Literally, that's what he said. Right?
What I'm saying is you can evolve. I think we all do evolve, right? But as you would say to me about the, I don't even know how to express this, like how you get, what's the right word? Like put off by bougie, Montclair, black folks because they act a certain way. We could say they evolved, and in some ways
those parents directly. I know exactly how they
do. So, and you haven't lost your edge, and you've evolved. I think Jay-Z lost his edge. I just do. I mean, I can't. Like, again, that doesn't mean I don't think he's a great artist, because he is. And I don't think he's not a great business person. Give him love for all that he's done. But if you're asking me, the way I'm thinking about it is, if you're asking me who I'm going to hang with, who I'm going to listen to when I'm with my boys, it's going to be these three and old Jay-Z, but not new Jay-Z. So
See,
he's out.
The only flaw in your argument is you're sort of holding it against Jay-Z from experiencing life, right? So Tupac and Biggie, unfortunately, their lives got cut short, right? So they didn't have a chance to, rise and then fall. Like, not fall, but just maybe plateau or sort of like switch it up a little bit, sort of figure it out. I mean, growing pains in terms of being in the industry, they were shooting stars. They died at their peak.
I understand.
So it's sort of like you're killing Jay-Z for the sort of rise, fall, it's just for living life, essentially,
Well,
for sort of figuring it out.
We could go around and around, because that's the thing. I don't want to disrespect Jay-Z. Again, you asked me who I'm knocking out.
I know. I'm just playing devils. I know.
I'm just telling you who I'm knocking out, Kyrie or Stefan. I'm knocking Kyrie out. That sounds nuts. But that's what I'm doing. If you're asking me to choose between the two, no question in my mind, but that doesn't make Kyrie an incredible star, etc.
In terms of game, or in terms of like overall accolades, or where are we going? Where are we going?
Just as a ball player. I'm not talking about Stefan and his, Kyrie's probably more real in some ways. What I'm talking about is ball players. You're asking me, I got to choose. We're on the concrete, and I got first pick. That's who I'm going with.
Hold on. If we're talking street ball, I got Kyrie, and I'm not looking back. So if we're talking like a professional game, I'm taking a step. But if we're talking on the street,
I'm talking about. I'm just using the analogy.
Okay.
But fellas, it's 9 minutes till, and I haven't even eaten yet. And Charles knows this. I usually tape the games. I can't do it tonight. I got to be watching it right from the jump.
I understand.
All right. Love you all.
Peace, brother.
Peace.
Good combo.
Oh, man, this is dope, man. This is dope.
Yes, it was. Good combo, man.
This is dope.
As usual.
Definitely. Yeah, but please, let me know. Is everything all right? Everything is good, home front in terms of what happened, and you know what I mean?
I'm going to go out here and find out.
Okay.
I went out there earlier, you know what I mean? I think I seen the culprit. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, stupid fool asked me where the gas at. 2 cop cars sitting right there. Like, I asked stupid. I was like, what? He was like, where the gas at? Where the weed at? I'm like, man, I don't know. You don't see them 2 cops right there? I didn't say that to him, but I'm just looking at him like, you thinking, man, you know what I mean? So obviously, I think that dude was on something. I'm going to just watch out, in the area. You know how it is. The one thing that I'll say is, to have to watch out for one fool is a whole lot better than having to watch out with a whole bunch of fools. And I've had to deal with that a lot of times in my life. There's a whole bunch of fools around. Like, okay, we got a couple of them here. You got to watch out. You know what I mean? But overall, I like the community much better than the ones we've lived in before.
Oh, man. That goes without saying, man. And it's unfortunate because we want to make a difference and, even take it on a grander scale. But it's just like with some folks, we're not going to be able to reach them. It's just, they got to figure out, and going back to our earlier, what we were talking about earlier, the voice within is more powerful than anything that comes outside of yourself, man. But folks aren't willing to just look inside themselves for the answers. Everything you need is internal. Just take it and figure it out, but folks aren't willing to do that. They're looking outside for everything in terms of, health and wealth and everything, when all the answers are inside. Everything's internal, as they say, you know what I mean? So some folks it's not going to reach, man,
In a mouthful with that, man, everything is internal. It goes a whole lot deeper than it sounds good, but it's a lot deeper than how it sounds. It's like really the truth. You know what I mean? Even they say, the Muslims say, Allah is closer than your jugular vein. You know what I mean? How close does that get? That definitely is internal.
No doubt.
Right? And as well as without. And within as well as without.
Right.
So, we manifesting God, we look at everything as, Alpha and Omega. Look at both sides, shift through it, discern,
right,
move on.
Right. But with that said, man, it is like something you want to give to people. Like, I'm going to recommend, like I said, Black Skin, White Mask for the folks in terms of, you know, if you're looking as a Black person in terms of figuring out, you know, who you are as an individual and how to maneuver, I think that's a great starting point for someone just trying to figure themselves out. You got some knowledge for the folks in terms of, you know, what books they should look towards in terms of figuring out.
Good question. Matter of fact, they can check out on the Tomorrow album. There's a song called Crack a Book. And then
Crack a Book.
That's right. And that song, we talked about a lot of different books.
Right.
To be specific to your point, I would say it helped me necessarily to read the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Oh, that goes without saying.
Birthday, today, I can't talk about books without talking about that book. That one had probably, if not the most effect on me of any book that I've ever read in this particular life, is that one. Then also, I would say to look into the Metanetta. You know what I mean? I think that's heavy because it takes you back a little further into understanding spirituality and not getting caught up in a lot of the things that's going on between this ism and that ism and this ism. You know, trying to find what it is, getting down deep, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Also, let's see, What They Never Taught You in History Class is an excellent book.
Right.
The reason why I say that is because, and you obviously read it, is because it has so many references to different other books, you know what I'm saying, and different facts that they found there. And anything by Ivan Van Sertima is good. I suggest that people look into, it came before, let's see. Yeah.
For me, Stolen Legacy was a good one for me.
Oh, yeah, George and James.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that one.
That just gets on the surface. That doesn't even like dig real deep into it.
That book right there, and I'll tell you, I started reading that book decades ago. Still haven't finished it because it's them first few pages when he talks about the Greek philosophers filling up the pages. You know what I'm saying? All the times they went to Kemet.
Everything goes to ancient Kemet. Everything goes to ancient Kemet. You want to learn about Christ? Go to Kemet, man. It tells you all about that. Everything is from that, man.
Everything.
Right.
And if it's not from there, that was that point where it was caught and put down from the ancients.
Correct. Right.
Maybe from those that were around before the cataclysm, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever happened, you know what I'm saying, to break certain things up. Because we definitely had ancient knowledge here. They have things that were here. You know, they said they found a spacecraft flown by a sister who was controlling it with some device through her pineal gland. This thing was over 1 billion years old. Now, I believe they found it. I don't think this was on Earth. I believe they may have found it on the moon if they've ever actually been there. Oh no, it might have even been Mars. I'll get my facts straight.
Right.
Anybody out there can go and look this up about there being craft that's been, you know, talked about by beings. They should check out Delbert Blair's series. You know, I don't know if you know about him, Dr. Delbert Blair. He talked a lot.
Of course. Bobby Hemmett. Come on. Absolutely.
Brother Bobby, good friend.
Is he still alive, by the way?
Yeah, last I heard.
Okay.
I hope Bobby's still alive. I mean, I won't say he's a good friend, but I knew him. You know, he's a good dude. You know what I'm saying?
If I could have a conversation with
that guy. Big up Steagles in Atlanta. That's where I met Bobby Hemmett.
Yeah? Right.
He worked at a place called Steagles. They had the best wing-on wheat that you could buy in Atlanta.
Right. Oh, that's dope. Dope.
He used to be up in there schooling people. I mean, he was always about that life. He was always about passing on knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So, those are some good books, man. There's plenty of them.
Right. Now, that's a good start, man. We got Feed the People. Yeah, that's a good start for folks. Oh, man. As always, man, this has been a pleasure, bro. My man. Always.
Good joint as usual.
Yes, sir. Hit me anytime, man. Talk to you in a bit, bro.
Yes, sir. Peace.
My man. Peace, man.